Hello there. So it's been about a month since my last video and a hell of a lot has happened. Now last time I did a video I said that I was doing I think I was doing a light bulb clone, and then I was going to be doing a sour because I had a whole load of beer to brew for a party that we were having at Halloween. Now it's now the 7th of November, so Halloween's been and gone. I've recorded all that footage and I've just not managed to get it posted up online because I've been really busy. So that means that I now have a whole brew day video that I'm going to show you guys, and then what's awesome is I'm going to be able to do a taste test at the end of it. So you're going to get a grain to glass and a taste test, or basically a grain to glass, a full grain to glass, grain to glass, taste test at the end. So brilliant, you're going to get a full video. So let me just do a little introduction. So the brew video we're going to be seeing today is for a raspberry sour. So we had a Halloween party 7 days ago. Really great, really nice. A little bit of a housewarming party because we moved into this house 3 months ago and we invited the neighbours. It was really nice. So over here, I had 5 taps of beer. That's no longer on. I've now got 3 taps of beer. I've got a neck oil clone, which I'm going to do a short video of probably pretty soon. Very short video. I've got an emerald sour, kiwi sour. Again, I'm going to do those 2 videos together, just do a really short video and do a taste test of those probably as well. I've got a raspberry sour power. I did have the light bulb clone, and I had the belcher. Both of those just got caned on Halloween. So it was really nice to see loads of people come to the party, really enjoyed drinking my beer, which is really nice, a little praise to me for the beer tasting nice. Really happy with that, really pleased, because when you're just drinking it yourself, you don't know whether other people are going to like it, and they loved it. So all really good. So what we're going to do today is we're going to see the Sour Power brew day video, which I'm going to cut to shortly, and then I'm going to pour myself a glass of this, and we're going to have a glass of Sour Power raspberry sour beer. Really, I've already had it, and it's actually taken a knock-in during the party, but there's plenty left for me to sample today. So obviously this is a sour beer. I've done a few sour beers in the past, and it's such a different experience to brewing a normal beer. A normal beer is literally start to finish, 4 hours, you're done. 5 hours maybe, depending on the beer that you're brewing and how good the brew day goes. Sour is very different in that you brew the beer and you get to a certain point and you stop and you cool it down to like 30, 36 degrees, and then you add the lactobacillus and wait for the souring to happen, which can take anywhere from 24 to 48 to 72 hours, so like 1 day to 3 days. So this one took a little bit of time, which you'll see in the video. It took a couple of days for it to actually sour, and then what you're left with at the end is like this really nice sour beer that you can add fruit to. So I'm going to cut to the brew day video now. You'll get to see the brew day, you'll get to see the souring process, you'll get to see the boil after the sour, and then also the kegging as well. And then I'll tell you a little bit about what happened after I kegged that beer, because it was a fucking nightmare. But yeah, let's cut to the brew day video. So, speak to you soon. Okay, so it is raspberry sour brew day. So you can see here we got the brewing sheet from Brewfather. We've got in the grain bill, we've got 3.6 kilograms of pale golden promise, 1.2 kilograms of wheat malt. We've got 500 grams of honey malt and 400 grams of wheat flakes. Only single hop addition we got here is in the 30 minutes, we've got 20 grams of Chinook going in to give it a little bit of bittering. Apart from that, it's pretty simple. We've got the Fermentis USO5, and we've got some lactobacillus, which is going in. That's going to be added into the kettle today. So I've already measured out the grain. So here we are with our grain bill. Nice and simple, grist. We've got a little bit of Epsom salts added. You can just about see that there, not a lot. Very small amount. I think it's like 2 grams of Epsom salts. So I'm going to be... So our boil kettle here is nice and full. We've got that set to a nice temperature so that we can start the doughing in. Currently that's set at 79 degrees. I've worked out that there's quite a lot of heat loss between
coming from the boil kettle and going into the mash tun. Probably because it's such a thick walled mash tun, it probably absorbs quite a lot of the heat. Currently that's set at 17 degrees. Yesterday I did this at 75 degrees in going in, and it came in at like 58. So I'm hoping that at 80 it should come in at about 63, 64, and then we can do the recirculation to bring the temperature up. I'm going to start, connect all of the hoses, get the pump working, and then we're going to start doughing in. Cool, so we're going to open up the HLT. We've got the pump has already opened up. We're going to open up the valve on the mash tun. We're going to turn the pump on. We should hear the pump going. Cool, and we are doughing in. So it should start going down. Yep, it's gone down. Yep, it's going down. So once it gets up to that max is 50 litres. So once it gets down to 30 litres, that's our 20 litres that we need for our mash. So once we've got that doughed in, I'm going to give it a good old stir, break up any dough balls, and let that sit so that we can start converting those lovely starches into sugars. Look at them, smash those dough balls right up. Okay, so little recirculation happening nice and quickly. So the HLT only needed to add a little bit of water to it to top it up. It took like 10 minutes for it to heat up. So I started doing the recirculation really soon. So we're recirculating at the moment, just trying to bring this mash up to the 66 degrees that it needs to for the full mash. So yeah, once this gets up to 66 degrees, I'll set the timer for like 45 minutes, and then we'll take a gravity reading, see where we are, wait 5 minutes, take another gravity reading, and so on until we get to the point where the gravity is no longer increasing and we know that we've got maximised the amount of sugars that we can get out of this grain. But yeah, watching a brew recirculate through your system is actually pretty satisfying. Okay, let's see how this goes. So we got coming out of the front of the mash tun into the pump, and then this is going to go into the top of the boil kettle. I realised I had a problem yesterday trying to get the pump to pump all the way up to the top of the boil kettle so that I could do the running in from this particular little valve I've got here. The reason why was because the bloody pump was unplugged. I didn't realise it wasn't actually doing anything. But hey, it worked. It all worked in the end. Managed to go through. So yeah, this valve's opened up. I'm going to turn the pump on. So pump number 2. Let's see what happens here. So we've got some action. You can hear the pump. You can hear it. Yeah. And we've got wort going into the brew kettle through the top valve. Nice. Cool, so let's get this filled up. I'll start the sparge as well in a minute. And then start washing this grain. Slowly. And then we got our nice sparge arm working. Trickling over the grain bed, washing those beautiful grains, washing the sugars out. Nice, this is all going so well. Don't want to speak too soon really, do I? Just in case something fucks up. Anyway, looking good. Okay, so we are looking for a pre-boil gravity. So we've got, it says 30 litres of water in the boil kettle. We're looking for a pre-boil gravity of 1.048, and as you can see there, we're bang on. So this is looking good. Another successful mash sparge Anyway, let's see how the souring process goes after this. Anyway, I've got 15 minutes I'm going to pasteurize the wort for, and then we're going to bring that temperature down to 31 degrees. Cool, so we have reached boil. We've been boiling now for like 10 minutes. So I think it's enough to say that the wort has been pasteurized. I've now hooked everything up to the chiller, so I'm now going to recirculate the wort through the pump into the chiller, back into the boil kettle, and we get this down to 31 degrees, which will probably take 15-20 minutes. 15 minutes probably for 30. Once we've got to that temperature, we're then going to cover this in a heat belt, wrap it in a blanket, whack in the lactobacillus, and then leave it for 36 hours. There's my dog over there. Say hello, Millie. Okay, cool, so we're down to 34.9. I reckon a couple more degrees and we will be ready to literally put this wort to bed for the night, and maybe most of tomorrow. Okay, did a little bit of research and I was wrong. It turns out it needs to be between 90 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 100 degrees is 38 degrees Celsius, so 37 is good. It's on the lower end, but hey, it's good. So I had to heat it up a little bit more. So here we got our wort. I'm going to add the lactobacillus. I'm just going to sterilise the. So this is the lactobacillus I've got. It's White Labs Pure Pitch Lactobacillus. I'm just going to sterilise the outside of the container. There we go. Sterilise with some isopropyl alcohol, and we are now. It's been agitated. We're now going to pour this into our wort. We are going to put the lid on. This is almost sealed. I'm going to, so in this laundry basket, I've got a heat belt. So I'm going to wrap that around it, set that to 38 degrees, wrap it in another blanket and leave it. Here we are. This is literally put to bed. So we've got our heat belt, which is set at 38 degrees, and the temperature at the moment is 37.1 degrees in there. I've wrapped it in a load of blankets. Hopefully that can maintain the temperature and we can get that lovely lactobacillus to grow in there and sour that beer, produce a nice low pH beer. So I'll have a look at it tomorrow, do a pH test, see where we are, decide how much longer we're going to leave it. So for now, this is good night.
2 days later.
Okay, so we are now 2 days later. So if you can, I don't know if you can actually see that because the light is pretty shit, but I've just taken a pH reading of the wort that's currently sitting. It's been sat here for 2 days now, covered in this blanket, trying to keep it at 36 degrees. As you can see, we've got a pH of 3.36, which I think is a pretty good pH. I think I made one mistake. So normally I think what you would do is try and add a little bit of lactic acid to the wort in order to bring the pH of the wort down to about 4, in the mid 4 kind of area. I don't think you can actually see this actually anymore. I didn't do that. So it's kind of struggled to get it down to this kind of level. So I've ended up letting it sit souring for a little bit longer than I've done previously in the past. Normally it's about 24 hours, something like that, 48 hours at the most. Did this Thursday night, it's now Sunday morning, so I think we're kind of ready to start getting this boiled. I'm going to give this a little taste in a second to see how sour it is as well. Okay, cool. So this is the little sample that I've taken from the boil kettle that's given us a reading of about 3.38, which is it's low. I'd like to put it a little bit lower, so I might leave this for a little bit more, like half the day. I don't know, we'll see how sour this tastes first, and then we can make a decision from there. So let's have a little taste. There's a nice tartness to it. It's not like really cloying. It's sour. Obviously being unfermented water as well, there's a hell of a lot of sugars in there, which balances out the tartness that you get. I'm getting a lot of the tartness when you have something that's really sour, you get that kind of like saliva glands at the back of your mouth, kind of like produce a bit more saliva. I'm getting that, which is a good sign. But yeah, it's good. The sweetness from the sugars that are actually in the water at the moment kind of override the sourness a little bit, but I've got that tartness that I'm kind of looking for. I think this is ready. I think we're going to give this a boil and we're going to get this into the fermenter. So let's go. Not sure if I did a video of how I actually set up all of this to make sure that it would stay warm. So what I've got here is a heat belt. It's not the best heat belt. I mean, it wraps around the wort. I can feel heat coming off of it because I've set it to try and maintain a target of 38 degrees. So it's probably been on solidly for the last 2 days. It feels really warm. So it's got a little controller that comes with it. I've got that plugged in, set it to 38 degrees, and basically it just stays on, and it's managed to maintain a temperature of 36 degrees over the last couple of days. It's gone down to 31 now because I've been taking all of the insulation off, and I've been opening and closing the lid to take pH readings. Yeah, it seems to have done the job over the last few days. So I'm going to take all of this off now, get the boil kettle turned on, and we're going to start the boil for 45 minutes. So I've already done a 15-minute boil on this, so I'm going to do another 45 minutes so that we don't end up boiling off too much of it, and then we'll see where we are after that. Okay, so we are now 15 minutes into the boil. I have a 30-minute hop addition, which is 20 grams of Chinook going in. Okay, so this is now 45 minutes into the boil, which is with the 15 minutes that I did previously. That's a full hour of the boil. As you can see, beautiful rolling boil we got there. I'm really pleased with the element in this kettle. I'm going to turn the kettle off now, and I'm going to start pumping the hot liquor into the counterflow chiller that I've got there. I'm going to use the water that comes from the counterflow chiller to put into a bucket because I want to stick it into the HLT, heat it up, and I want to do a whole recirculation cleaning loop all the way through all my kettles. So yeah, let's turn it off and get the chill going on. Okay, cool. So we are now running off into the fermenter. The temperature of the wort is down to 30 degrees. I'm running it through the chiller slowly. So we are going into the fermenter at 20 degrees. So I think we are nice. It's taken like 10 minutes to get that chilled down to 20 degrees. So pleased with how efficient the counterflow chiller is proving to be. So yeah. Fill this up, get the yeast ready, and then we're going to put it to bed. Now I can't put this one into my fermentation chamber because I've already got a beer in there brewing. So this one is going to go and sit in the bar where the temperature stays at about room temperature most of the time. It's like 20 degrees in there most of the time. I've been monitoring it, so I'm happy that it's going to be at a good temperature for fermentation. Anyway, fill this bad boy up, and then we're done. It's down to all over to the cleaning then. The yeast for this recipe, by the way, is the old classic Safel US05. I'm not going to bother filming me chucking the yeast in the fermenter once it's ready. You've seen that kind of shit before, so yeah, US05. But now clearly you can see that it's very bright out here. So I totally forgot to take a gravity reading. We've come in at 1.056. The recipe asks for 1.056, so numbers wise we are spot on again. This is looking good with this new kit. I'm really pleased. So here we are. This is kegging day for the raspberry sour. So here we are with the fermenter. It's day 9, I think it is. It's fermented down to 1.010. I've got a clean keg here. We have two. That's my dog in the background, by the way. You can hear. Hello, Millie. We have two. Millie, out. Out you go. We've got 2 cartons here of pasteurised raspberry puree. So this is 2 litres in total. So I'm going to pour this into the secondary. So I've already sprayed these and if I can do this one-handed. Yes, I've already sprayed these to sterilise the opening of these. So I'm literally going to pour this in. So basically what I'm doing here with the keg is I'm putting this into a secondary fermentation now. So I'm going to put the raspberry puree into the keg. I'm then going to transfer the sour beer into the keg. I'm going to leave it at room temperature, probably for about another week. And I will probably just then whack it into the keezer and then put it on tap. I don't think I'm going to bother to whack it into another container to get rid of like the raspberry leftovers that you have in the bottom of the keg. I think I'll just leave it in there. So here we go. So let's pour this in, if I can do this without making an absolute mess. There we go. You see that beautiful colour. What an amazing colour. So this intention, hopefully this is going to end up with a really nice red coloured sour beer. Amazing. So if you can see there, the bottom of that keg is just filled up. So at the bottom. So what we're gonna end up doing here is we dilute the sour down, so it will reduce the alcohol content a little bit, but also there'll be a secondary fermentation, so there'll be some alcohol that will be consumed and produced. Some alcohol produced from the sugars that are left in the raspberry puree. But it's going to be negligible. It's not going to be a huge amount, I don't think. That's it. That is actually the whole. So the whole fermenter's now emptied itself out up into where the dip tube is, which is probably comes in here. It's probably up to about that level. So there's going to be probably about a litre or 2 left in the bottom of the actual fermenter. But you can see here, it looks like a raspberry ripple, doesn't it? This is going to be amazing. Okay, so that was a really interesting brew day. You can see it was a great brew day, 2 days worth of souring. A nice boil, all pretty simple. Kegging looked pretty simple, nice, looked really nice as well. That like frothy head of the beer rising up out through the keg with all of that raspberry kind of like rippling through it like a raspberry ripple. Looked really nice. So I made one massive mistake after actually kegging that beer. So obviously adding a load of raspberries, which has got loads of sugars in it, into a beer and just leaving it in a room at 20 degrees in a keg was a big mistake. I should have probably put a spunding valve on there to release any pressure from the secondary fermentation, which was bound to kick off. I could have added something to, I think it's called Fem Stop or something like that. It's called Firm Stop, which is like a substance. I can't remember what it was, but it's a substance that stops that secondary fermentation, so you just get the sugary fruitiness of the fruit. Or I could have, chilled it at a lower temperature so that the fermentation just didn't kick off. Fortunately, I left it at 20 degrees, totally forgot about it, went away for work for a few days, was really busy, come back and decided, right, I'm actually now ready to whack this in the fermenter and start pouring it and taste it, see what it's like. Obviously, secondary fermentation produces a load of CO2 and that keg became incredibly pressurized. So I whacked it into the fermenter, put it onto the tap, went to pour a little bit just to release, just to see what some of it was like, even though I knew it was probably going to be flat, and it wasn't. It was just literally froth, froth, froth. I did probably 8 litres of froth just came out just to release the pressure off the top of that keg, until it got to a point where it was like pouring what looked like darker froth, so it was like raspberries. And I left that overnight, really, really pissed off at myself because I thought I've really fucked this beer up and it's for a party, which is really shit. Went to it the next day and it poured, so obviously releasing all that pressure gave it time to just settle down a little bit. So it was really good. It was and on the day of the party. It poured really nicely. There's a little bit too much head that gets generated on it, but it was still really nice. So thankfully it got saved, even though on the actual day I just thought I'd actually just totally screwed up the beer. But thankfully, yeah, it came out okay. So I'm going to pour myself a beer now, and then we're going to do a taste test. So give me 2 minutes. And here we have it. Look at that beautiful beer. I mean, look at the colour of that. It is amazing, isn't it? Look at it. Beautiful, like, pink head. Lovely, like, raspberry red body to it. And it looks, you know, I've done a cherry lambic before, and it's very close in colour to a cherry lambic. I'd say probably a cherry lambic's a bit deeper. But yeah, just look at it. It looks really nice. So when I kegged this, I kegged it and I poured the raspberries into the keg, and I'm never sure what's the right thing to do, whether it's pour the raspberries into the serving vessel or pour the raspberries into a secondary fermentation vessel. Excuse me, secondary fermentation vessel that you would then filter off into the keg. I mean, I quite like pouring it into the serving vessel, so you end up with, like, you know, a bit like a fruit smoothie sometimes, where you get bits of fruit come into your beer. But this, yeah, it looks really nice. It's such a lovely looking beer. So let's dive in and give it a little smell, and then we're going to give it a little taste as well. So on the nose, it just punches in your face of raspberries, like really like strong, beautiful raspberry smell, like slight sweetness to it, but also that like sour smell that you get from like sour beer. It's really nice. Let's just dive in, shall we? See what it tastes like. Wow, that is a really nice beer. Still get that real tartness that you get, you know, when I was tasting the beer to see whether it was at the right sourness level. Get that real tartness at the back of your jaw, when it makes your saliva glands start to produce loads of saliva. You get that, but you get nice sharpness on the tongue and fruitiness on the tongue. It just washes over your mouth down to your throat. It's a really fucking nice beer. This would be so nice in the summer. Really nice, refreshing. So a nice chill level. It's at 4 degrees. But yeah, just so refreshing. Really nice. I can understand why, you know, the sour lovers that were in the room on Halloween were actually just quaffing this down. It's a really good beer. I'd highly recommend it. If you're a brewer that likes sours, I would highly recommend giving a kettle sour a go. It's not difficult. There's just that step in the middle of just souring your beer, the kettle sour process, and then after, you know, your brew day ends up taking 2 days, 3 days, essentially. That's the only step that's different, really, to making a normal beer, and then adding fruit to it if you want to as well. But yeah, really happy with these results. So I'm going to end this video now. We're going to say goodbye. I'm going to sit and have a couple more of these. I'm probably going to edit I've got a neck oil clone, which I've called Gob Grease, and then I've got the Emerald Kiwi Sour. I'm going to push those into one video, and we're going to do a video of both of those, and we'll do a taste test at the end of that. But anyway, I'm going to enjoy a couple of these. Happy brewing, guys. Speak to you later. And I really hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give me a like, follow, subscribe, whatever it is you do on YouTube. But yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Take care.